Hello there ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to what I painted this month for September 2015. A few days late with the video again. As you can see, not a huge amount was done this month. It's quite a busy month, but you can see a couple of additions to the Kings of War Goblin army, and then the rest is bolt action. So let's take a closer look, shall we? First up we have a light mortar for my Belgians for bolt action. This is actually a Finnish model with Belgian heads on it, because from looking in the Belgians book I found out that they can actually have a squad that is nothing but light mortars, and they're very tasty in the game because you can fire indirectly, so you can fire over your other troops' heads, and you can also move and fire, which makes it different from any other indirect fire weaponry such as medium mortars. Speaking of medium mortars, here's another one. Again, this is Finnish with Belgian heads on it. This one on a group base. When it comes to basing, if the gun and the one man operating it can fit on a single base, then I'll put him on a single base and then put the other crew on separate bases. But you can see with this one, I wouldn't be able to get that substantially larger mortar and one guy onto a base, so this goes on a 3. I am becoming a big fan of indirect fire in bolt action. Anything that can just drop all that damage down on the enemy from distance, as I found out in my last game with the heavy artillery when it completely obliterated the enemy. So, very tasty. I've stocked up on more things in that vein. The bases that they give you with the team weapons in bolt action, they're not particularly great, they're a bit thin, so what I did was I put some milliput on them to build them up a bit, make them a bit thicker, a bit sturdier, and also to add a bit of uneven ground, so it looks a bit more natural. I started running out of flowers while I was basing these, which is why they're a little bit sparse, but I've ordered some more now for the next batch. Here are 5 regular Belgian soldiers. I've had these models for a while, but I hadn't put heads on them because I didn't decide what I actually wanted to do with them. Wasn't sure whether I was going to make more chasseurs or more just regular troops. And I decided I need a few more regulars, so there they are. Next we have a heavy machine gun, which is actually an American heavy machine gun with Belgian heads on again. When choosing which machine gun to use, I did look in the book and do a bit of research online to find out exactly what the Belgian heavy machine gun looked like in World War II, and it was actually a licensed copy of the American model, so it makes sense that they have that gun. There are a couple of historical inaccuracies with the uniforms, but nothing that particularly bothers me. For example, one of the loaders, on his back he has a gun that the Belgians wouldn't have really used, but I don't think that's particularly important. That's going to be pretty tasty in the game, I think. The word heavy only appears in the Belgian army list twice, and I now own both of them with the heavy artillery and the heavy machine gun. Next up we're on to some Kings of War stuff. First of all we have this troll bruiser which has been converted. It's a regular troll with its hands replaced with giant spiky balls from Relix Nuum Ruina, with chains around that from Relix Nuum Penitentium, and then a random skull from the bits box has gone onto his base, and there is a resin base as well, which makes him a little bit taller. So I painted this the same way I did all the others. I did put an extra layer of wash over the orange though, so it's a little bit darker than the rest, I think. And then I went to town with some crazy blood all over his balls, and a little bit of it dripping onto the snow and the rocks as well. That's with the blood for the Blood God Citadel Technical paint, mostly just haphazardly splattered on there. Next up we have a Goblin Flag Git. I'm not brave enough to do any kind of freehand on the banner, so it's just bare for now, but I do really like the Moor Beasts, particularly with the colour scheme I've used on them. I think they look really tasty. The way the colour kind of fades from orange to whitish blue underneath, which is achieved by airbrushing the rider in orange, which of course catches the top half of the mount as well, and then using a blue glaze over the whole creature, so it ties it together and creates that kind of gradient, which I like. And then the hair being green looks quite nice as well, I think. I based him the same way I did my other characters, just a couple of layers of cork, so he's going to provide some much needed inspiration for my Goblin army, because I only had previously had one inspiring model. So with this, and the Troll Bruiser who can inspire nearby trolls, that should mean I can spread my army out a bit more and keep them in inspiring range with all these different characters, rather than having to keep them all bunched up or risk them not being inspired, which means that one lucky roll can just wipe the unit out. At least when you're inspired they'll be forced to re-roll that, so you're much less likely to lose a unit through a random act of misfortune. So there you have it, that's everything I painted during September. As for this month, we'll see what I actually get finished, but on the table right now I have a lot of Stormcast Eternals, so I just got a lot of Age of Sigmar stuff. So hopefully I can get some of that finished before the end of the month. I'm going to try and focus on just a couple of units at a time so I don't get overwhelmed. So we'll see how many of them actually get finished. I doubt I'll paint anything other than them for this month, so we'll see how many I can work through. At the moment they're just waiting to be primed. So I hope you enjoyed yet another look at what I've been painting, and I'll catch you next month, ladies and gentlemen. Ta-ta for now.